Hey strong people, Kalle Beck here, and I'm tired. Anyways, a lot going on. I'm going to try to do this video quickly. New additions to my family. Awesome time to be me. And it's World's Strongest Man, great month. It's my birthday in April. World's Strongest Man's happening, and I gave birth to my first son. I didn't do it, but I'm doing a lot. So, while I have time, I'm going to talk about the common questions people have about World's Strongest Man, and I'm going to answer them as best as I know. None of this is official, because I don't run World's Strongest Man. I just kind of pay attention, and I've been paying attention for a while, and this is how I understand things are. So don't take anything verbatim. Might be wrong. I'm sure if I am, you guys will correct me in the comments like you always do. I love all the red penning, but it helps me be better. So first thing, when are they? They're kicking off April 28th, and they're in the Philippines. There's a whole schedule that World's Strongest Man put up on their Facebook and Instagram. If you go to startingstrongman.com, all that information is up there as well. I'll try to put those little links in the comments. The qualifiers run from April 28th to May 1st. They take a couple days off, and May 5th and 6th they do the finals. How World's Strongest Man works is there is 5 groups of athletes consisting of 6 athletes doing 6 events, and the 2 people from each group go on to qualify for the 10-man final. The most common question is there a live stream? No. Will there ever be a live stream at World's Strongest Man? I've talked to people at the production, and they say that is not likely to ever happen. World's Strongest Man is owned by IMG, which is the biggest, what do you call it, like media company in the world, I'm pretty sure. They just bought the UFC. They do all kinds of stuff. So they're into making television productions, and World's Strongest Man is a television production. They film it. It's a sporting event that's more ran like a television production. It's not like football or something, which actually that's kind of changed around. I'm talking about American football, this one, not kicking. Where like a sport, the sport's going on and they're filming around it. They're setting up the shots, having the athletes do it, sometimes making them wait, and and saying cut, telling the crowd. I went in 2007, and they're telling the crowd like, "Hey, really cheer here," or go stand over there, and all that. Not the best live experience. It's cool to be there by the fact that you're there, and there's all these people that you've only ever seen on television, most likely there, and it's a big event, but it's not set up for a live audience. If you want to see a live strongman show, I suggest going to, if you're in America, something like the Arnold Classic. In Europe's Strongest Man, Britain's Strongest Man, pretty much any Giants live event is ran well. Of course, there's also a Giants live event in America as well. But there's no live stream. Probably, I don't see one ever happening in the foreseeable future. And they make more money by shopping. I assume they make more money by shopping it out to different TV, and selling the rights to air it than they would doing a live stream. Doesn't seem to be a big concern or a moneymaker for them, because they didn't even do one for Europe's this year, which is, it's not the same people, but it's kind of the same people. It's interconnected, even if there's different rules. So don't expect to see a live stream. How to get updates. World's Strongest Man is the funnest event to ever follow on a spreadsheet. There's always a spreadsheet that goes around. I'll be sharing that on social media, so be sure to go to startingstrongman.com, follow Starting Strongman. It's always put together by a couple good people, and they just find every little this competitor's third cousin got the news that they did this, and they saw some random local put up an Instagram video, and you're able to hand time what the time was, or how many reps someone did in a heat, and it's compiled as best it can. There's always mistakes, but I'll be putting as up-to-the-date updates on startingstrongman.com and various social medias as well, and we'll embed or link to that spreadsheet. That's the best way to get events. Also, any crowd shots I'll be embedding on the website, and I'll put links in the description for you guys to follow all that as well. Why? Okay, I'm going to put it as how do they pick the locations, but how this was asked to me was, why is it always in the most random spots? So World's Strongest Man it's aired forever, and it's always seems to be like, usually it's like a local tourism board, or it could be, they want it at some resort, and that is bought to host it there because it's good advertising, because every time they go to them, they go, oh, we're here, and we're in Botswana, and check out all this cool stuff about Botswana or whatever. And I know when we were all younger and getting into the sport, we always thought it was cool, like, wow, they're in Malta, or all these cool locations, and they seem to be getting a little bit more random, but it's whoever's I assume whoever's the highest bidder is the time frame works out, or all that goes into that. But if you want World's Strongest Man hosted wherever you want it, you should talk to your local city council and businesses and try to get them in touch to basically buy for the rights for it to be there. As best I understand, that's how you could get World's Strong. Why isn't World's Strongest Man in blank location? Make it happen. So Atlas Stones, is there a last man standing? Are they double points? There's always weird stuff that goes on with the Atlas Stones, and they are neither of those that we've seen in the past, but there is a weird thing that Atlas Stones are doing. From how I understand it, I keep saying that, I'm just whatever, I think you get the point. Atlas Stones this year, first place is automatically going to advance to the finals. Whoever after the 5 events in the heat end up going to, whoever has the most points overall is not going to have to do stones. Then second and third are going to do an Atlas Stone run, which is going to be a traditional style where it's going, to the pillars, I think. And whoever from second and third wins head-to-head in that matchup in the stones advances to the finals. Third place could, you could have it where first and second are like within a point of each other, and the whole rest of the group is like 8 points plus behind. And if that person who's in third place and way behind on points and out of it is really good at stones, they could advance to the finals. So that's what they're doing. Why do they do it like that? Again, World's Strongest Man is a TV production, and they want it to look good when people are just looking for casual TV, and it's kind of boring when, you're going to have two guys that's going to make two guys give it 100% they have on stones, where we've seen in past years people do exactly what they need to do to win or skip it altogether, etc., and that's not exciting TV. Yes, in real sports, like the fourth quarter and blowouts, in football, they'll just kneel for the last 2 minutes. That's not really exciting either, but, if you can kind of, change the rules a little bit to make it more exciting, that's what they're doing here. I think it'll be fun to view from, as far as like a traditional, like 100% in the right of like make it a sport. I don't think it's the best, I'd rather they just do it normal and just do points, because it makes Atlas Stones real important this year. But I guess they should be. Who's missing? A couple people missing. Jerry Pritchett and Dimitar Savatinov. Sometimes invites are just given out to athletes. This isn't official from either of the athletes. I didn't reach out to them to ask or anything. I know Jerry Pritchett, people asked him and he said, I wasn't invited. But neither one of those athletes also, neither one of them tried to do a Giants Live qualifier, I don't think either, and that's generally how you qualify for World's Strongest Man, is going to one of the various Giants Live events and qualifying. They both seem to be more focused on the Arnold series. I think the paydays are a little bit better. It's a little bit more consistent. Someone like Jerry, who has a full-time job, it's a lot easier to go for a weekend to Brazil to compete, I'd imagine, than it is to be gone for 2+ weeks and travel all the way to the Philippines. So I think they're just more focused on the Arnold. I assume they'd like to do both, but it's kind of hard to do both if you're going to do the Giants Live / World's Strongest Man series and the Arnold / Arnold Classic series. I think, for if you see, I consider kind of the working man's style of strongman, like Dimitar and Jerry. They seem to, be focused on prize money for how they're making a living doing this versus some people, more on endorsements. I think the World's Strongest Man side kind of works better for the endorsement, just for the, especially if you're, British. And there's only one Giants Live North American qualifier, which kind of makes it hard for them. But I think they're just more focused on the Arnold. If they were to be given an invite, they'd probably go. But to try to go to this Giants Live qualifier while doing all the Arnold circuit to qualify for those, I think that's a lot to do. And you're seeing more people, as there's been more of a division between the Arnold and the World's Strongest Man. It looked like they're kind of coming together for a bit. Now they're really separating their two whole different federations and pretty much directly competing against each other. So I think you've seen more people just kind of picking sides. Some still doing both, of course, but there's only so much time and toll someone can take on their body. Ronald Hanla, why is he not there? He won the Arnold Australia. He's strong. I don't think he's getting invites to World's Strongest Man for, it could be somewhat political reasons. I think he had some slight legal issues. But I think it's kind of it's bullshit, whatever the reason, and hypocritical to say the least. I don't think it's my place to exactly get into it. I don't think he's happy that he's going, but I think he's one of those people that's not having a choice on. I think he would go to a Giants Live qualifier to qualify if he could. I don't think he's given that choice. Eddie Hall said he was going to retire last year. He did Britain's Strongest Man. He said he was going to retire from World's Strongest Man last year, and he is not competing. From what I hear, and I think he posted on his Facebook, he is going to be in some way one of the commentators on, and I'd assume that would be on the UK version of the broadcast. Excuse me. Which I think that'll be great. Keeps him in the limelight. Great move for him. I think he'll bring something to sport. He'll keep his fans around wanting to watch, and probably kind of like how Magnus for Magnuson did it, and doing like the little athlete interviews, the little intros talking about the events. I think he'll do an awesome job with that. Okay, another question was, why is there different events for the various heats? That comes down to, it's a TV show. If someone's just trying to watch a marathon and they see this 6 big guys doing the exact same, 5-6 events, then the 6 guys, it's a little bit more boring. Where, oh wow, now they're, instead of kegs, they're loading anvils. It's like, oh, that was different, and I think they think that makes more viewers, stick around and keep watching, because a lot of the time this stuff's, just after it first airs, it's just put on marathon style, so you get more viewers doing that. So that's why they do the different events. When were the events announced? They were kind of assumed and then leaked out. I think all the athletes pretty much got it right around the same time. Because I know I got the events probably pretty much as soon as they were, and that was about 3 months ago when I put them up on StartingStrongman.com. Are you checking the website? I put everything there. Sometimes before World's Strongest Man announces it. Anyways. How does having the events so spread out, affect different athletes? How's it different? That's a good question. So pretty much how it works is like the athletes tend to do, 2, maybe 3 events a day, and it's spread out over a week versus, usually you're doing 6 events in one day. I think for some people it's a shock and it doesn't work out as well. I think it helps if you're not as good a condition as an athlete. It gives you more time to recover. I think it's harder mentally to just get amped up to compete that many times. So it does take some level of experience, and I think some people really, rise to that, and the other people's it kind of messes them up. They get so amped up, and then it's like, okay, we just did one event, now we're doing another event. And it's even when they're doing 2 events in the same day, it might be 6 hours apart. So you're pretty much just doing one, resting, you gotta cool down, get your food, and you gotta get amped up to another one. The athletes definitely have to approach it a completely different way. I think the people that have competed in, like real, in like team sports or have more of an athletic background, it helps them more versus the people that came up like doing strongman, doing powerlifting, where it's always been you just do your meet or your contest. You have an hour break, go, in between events. I think it's a little tougher for them, because there's, certain ways, they're taking their pre-workout or whatever, getting amped up, warming up, cooling down. There's definitely some factors. It's also going to be really hot, so that's going to be a huge factor. So that's why. Also was asked, is there a different format for the qualifiers which would make the finals more interesting? And Nick Best brought this up on a Strong Talk podcast episode I did with him, that he thinks, and from what one of his training partners, John Lane, said in the comments when I posted this in the Stern Strongman Facebook group, I guess Nick says he has to hear about every training session, so I guess he'll tell anyone who can listen, and I really like the idea. That, I'm paraphrasing here, is that they shouldn't do qualifiers at all. So, if you do the qualifiers in the finals, you're doing, 5 or 6 events in the qualifiers, and you're doing, 6-ish events in the finals. So why not just have 13 different events? You could have 2 different presses, 2 different deadlifts, whatever you want. Just have 13 events, have all 30 athletes compete in them, and just add it all up that way. I think it would be a much better way to find who the strongest man in the world really is. Because when they're, with that huge point spread, you can't have a weakness at all. Like if you're an okay presser and you're good at, like, you can maybe get 3rd or 4th out of the 10 people that are well-rounded enough to end up in the finals, that you could skate by and maybe win or podium that way. But if you're like a really bad presser, and there's people that like, there's a lot of really strong pressers that have never made the finals. And we have an event like a max overhead this year, and that's with a barbell. Like, you just put all 30 guys in there, and it's going to completely change the standings, because one guy he might be like someone who you're going to think be on the podium. He might end up in, 15th, and and it also makes that people could really come back. There's just a lot more room there for air. As far as a TV production, I think you could still split it up. It's pretty much how the CrossFit Games does it. They cut athletes, by the end of the day, and they only kind of focus on whoever's doing, the top 5-10 guys in the event anyways. And then, it gives, if some people have some, better events and they're not as good, they're going to they'll get showcased in those events that they do well in and get that little bit of glory. And then they know they're literally the strongest man in the world, well, except for the guys that didn't show up, in that style of event, even if they never would have normally made the finals. Let me know what you think. I think it's an interesting idea. I don't think it'll ever happen. Maybe a different show could do something like that, but I think it would be cool. When will it air on television? I believe so. There's 2 major places it airs. In America, it'll air on CBS Sports Network, I think starting pretty much a month after the contest, somewhere like April, I think like the end of May, first week of June. And in the UK, it always airs right around Christmas time. So we get to see it a little bit earlier, but the UK broadcast is far better. And usually once it's been aired there in the UK one, it ends up on YouTube somehow. And I always make sure to catch it there as well. Is there any? So I'm also going to be doing videos breaking down each heat and how I see them. So I don't want to spend too much time on this. But is there any dark horse who I think could make it to the finals that people aren't expecting? I really think Adam Dirks in Group 2 has a good shot. I'm not just saying that because he has cute little dimples, but I think he's really well-rounded and he's improved tremendously. Some other people, let me look at this real quick. There's some tough groups. I think Group 1 and 5 are definitely, as we call them, hell groups. And, you got Group 5, you got Nick Best, Hollins, Janasia, Kilkalski, Shivlikov, and Avers, a guy from Latvia. I always mess up his name. I think Dennis, he's an SCL competitor, Dennis Kalle from Germany. Sorry, butchered that too. In Group 3, I think he could even make the finals in that group. And I think Group 3 is like they're like, who's really good at log pressing? Everyone go in Group 3. Man, some people that could end up not in the finals, and I think it would shock people. I think in Group 5, I mean, it's possible with that group that Janashi or Kilkowski could end up out of the finals just because there's so many people. I mean, there's 3 finalists from last year in that group, so 3 out of the 10 strongest guys in the world are all in one group. Someone's not going to go. So there's going to be a shock, that could happen there, because we got, and I think Shivlikov, he's always gets kind of, he's so strong. He's so strong. He got 3rd at the Arnold Classic. He just won the Arnold South America / Brazil, whatever you call it. I think he could make his first finals this year and knock one of those other guys out, like Janashia or Kilkowski or Best, Hollins could make the finals. I mean, honestly, people don't give him credit, but with how the stone format is, he just needs to be in 3rd place, and he probably beats just maybe not Kilkowski, but depending on the day, he could beat anyone on a stone run in that group. I think groups 1 and 5 are going to be really interesting. I think, and as far as the events. Some of the events to take note of this year, I'm going to wrap this up, it's already way too long, is there's a lot more moving events. It's more traditional strongman. Last year was a little bit more static, but there's arm over arms in the qualifiers. You haven't seen that in a while. I'll be doing a whole wrap up talking about the finals once we know who's in it. I don't like predicting who's going to win until we know who's in the finals, personally. But the most interesting event in the finals is a max overhead, which is with a barbell and wagon wheels, but it's with a rotating barbell. So we can see some people put up some huge numbers. This really favors some of the athletes that can utilize a split jerk, in my opinion, because with a barbell you're able to use more weight than with an axle or a log. But yeah, we're going to see some, depending on who makes it in the finals, that max overhead with a barbell, and they got to clean it from the ground. I really wish it was on the blocks where they could do it from behind the neck if they wanted to. That'd be cool. We haven't seen that in a long time. That's a different event, something we haven't seen in a while, and I think it'll be interesting. We have a grip event back this year, the frame carry. That'll be a huge event. I mean, I really want to see Janashia and Kilkowski battle it out in that frame carry along with some other people. There's a car deadlift in the qualifiers. The squat and the deadlift are back to using the barrels where they go into the basket again. So that changes things up a little bit from the past couple of years. Again, thanks for watching. If you have any more questions on World's Strongest Man or corrections, whatever, put them in the comments. I'll do